it's good to see you guys. Obviously, been an eventful off season, as they all seem to be, and we feel great where we're at, and we're refreshed, reloaded, and excited for what lies ahead.
Tommy, we talked to Adia this week about this whole thing. Every summer is going to be like this. Big roster turnover. You're still recruiting for this coming season. You just come to accept that's what's going to
Well, we're going to see. I'm not. I'm not great at speaking in definitives or superlatives on this stuff because, obviously there's been a lot of changes, and changes can be a good thing, and you just have to figure out how to, how they're going to work for you and your program, how they're going to work for your players, and, but I'm going to double down more than ever on, recruiting great guys and building great relationships with them, and really investing in the players in our program, and doing the best job we can to build a great culture that's sustainable. I'm not going to be. Nothing's going to veer me off that path.
Is it true, or do you anticipate a lot of springs like this specifically, where you're not sure until the spring, and then you're waiting to see maybe even guys come back from the draft and go in the portal? It seems like it's deeper every spring.
I think we all have short memories, and so obviously there's a lot of movement, but I'm not going to try to predict what's going to happen at the end of next year. I'm just going to try to do the best job I can to build the best team right now, and we'll deal with what comes with that.
How did getting Caleb Love happen, and what does he bring to your team?
Well, obviously Caleb had made a decision to go somewhere else, and we were kind of involved with him early, and nothing wrong happened the first time around. It just, I think he had a previous relationship with Michigan, and they had recruited him out of high school, and he went there, and they weren't able to work it out academically for whatever reason, and we got his stuff, and he's a solid student, and University of Arizona had no problem putting together a plan for him, and so we were fortunate. Caleb's obviously a proven player, and he's been great. He's been a real joy to be around, and been a great teammate and fun to work with, and we're going to operate on that plane. We haven't seen anything different.
How does his experience help you guys out?
Well, he's just a really good player. I don't know how many guys you could say that have scored, 30 in an Elite Eight game, and then in a Final Four game, 28 points. He's obviously, you got to be a good player to do that. So he's accomplished. He's been there, done that, and but also he's been on the other side of it where things have gotten tough, and maybe fairly or unfairly, he's been in the crosshairs of criticism in the media, and we look forward to integrating him into our program, and making him a part of our culture, and helping him have a great experience. That's all we're focused on.
The issues that you had with the credits, you can overcome that even before he decided to go to Michigan? Was that something that?
No, we were unaware. We did not get far enough in the recruitment the first time around to get involved with his transcripts and stuff like that. But we got him, and there was nothing shocking or nothing surprising on our end. So it was kind of just a transfer as usual for us.
Does the number of players that you get, after the season's over, this season, is that changing the way you work through the summer and trying to get these guys to get to know each other on the court, off the court? How is that?
Well, I guess to me, this seems easier than 2 years ago. 2 years ago, everybody was new, including me. So I'd never worked with any of the guys. So like I said, I think you deal with what's in front of you, and there's never any reason to panic. We got great guys, we got good players, and I think we've had a really good off season so far, and we're probably going to take a break here for a couple weeks and kind of everybody get away from each other, get a little bit of rest, and then come back and see if we can make a next push, kind of mid-July.
Over the last couple of years, Tommy, you're a pieces fit kind of guy. How does this team kind of?
Well, I think we got a lot of pieces, and I think they fit well together. I don't think we got a lot of guys with jagged edges. So I think we got guys that complement each other, and I think we have a team that's going to have the ability to play incredibly hard. As always, we're gonna strive to play incredibly unselfish and very aggressive. So, I feel really good when I look at our roster and how certain individuals complement each other.
A lot of coaches want versatility in the lineup, versatility in their roster. Do you think you found that in the guys you've added?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you tell me a coach that doesn't want versatility, I mean, I'd love to hear what things. Of course, you want a lot of players that can do a lot of things, and yeah, I mean, I think we have that. So, I mean, I think we have guys that are going to be good two-way players, and I think we have a chance to be really, really good defensively, and that's going to be a point of emphasis for sure.
Who are you still waiting on arriving here? And when do you anticipate having the full allotment together?
I would say, probably towards the end of July. We have some of our younger international players playing in some international competitions. So I mean, I think, if I look at this list yet to arrive, Krivas hasn't been here yet. Morauskas hasn't been here yet, and Martinez hasn't been here yet. But I think, we'll have all those guys at some point towards the end of July.
And speaking of international competition, you got Philip playing for Serbia and Kylan for the U.S. Those experiences, what you're expecting?
Yeah, I mean, those are awesome. I mean, it's awesome opportunities to represent your country, and and a really well-respected event. I mean, the under-19 World Championships are, these guys have a chance to get an experience and make memories of a lifetime. I think both guys, are looking to be key contributors on their team, and I think everything tips off tomorrow. I mean, if I'm got my calendar in my head right, and I don't know, I might even like to try some Hungarian food in the next week or so. So who knows? Maybe that'll happen.
How does last season in this summer help out Kylan Boswell get ready for this?
Well, I think it allowed Kylan to go through something that I think as a coach, I knew was coming, but maybe he wasn't. Just there's going to be a little bit of struggle. And struggle is part of the development process. And he went through it early and he got through it well, and part of his struggle too was recovering from the injury. But he really, obviously took off towards, the second half of the season and he continued to make that progress in the off season. And I think, even with the U.S. team, he continues to show that. So, I just think having that struggle in your back pocket, puts him, a step or two ahead, of most other kids his age coming into college.
I mean, what level of surprise was there for you, if at all, at the fan base and the craze that they got into when they did the offseason didn't get off the way that they thought that it should be?
I mean, that happened. I was unaware. I just had my head down and was working, and I got a trust in myself and in our program and in our staff that things are always going to turn out. And we just worked day to day and kept the faith, and I think we ended up in a great spot.
How did the recruitment of Keshad Johnson go? How did it end up that you get to attend his graduation party?
Well, Keshad's he's a great guy. I mean, as of all the guys are, but he just has a real, special ability to make teams better, and he's just an amazing, high character person. And we were kind of going back and forth as his recruitment, and he had asked us, hey, if we do this, and would you guys be able to attend my graduation ceremony up in the Bay Area? And we told him the only way we could do it is if he signed, and that's true. And so he signed, and so we headed that way, and it was really cool. I mean, he's the first person in his family to graduate from college, and it was awesome to meet everybody and his families. I mean, Mikhail and Tucson are going to love him. I mean, they're awesome people, and they come with great energy and positive spirit. So, and then we were in the neighborhood, and Andre, decided to pop in, and I think that was really cool.
So he had gone through the draft process and then decided to come back, and so did Pella. What kind of feedback did Pella get?
I mean, Pella really didn't, he didn't get too far into the draft process. And, I mean, Pella, we've had a lot of conversations on where he's at as a player, and, we really, really value Pella. He's a really good player. And, the exciting thing about him is there's still steps to be taken, and just, everyone kind of comes into their own at their own time. And I think Pella is primed to have an amazing, fourth year in college here next year.
For as far as Pella got, is it for him more just informational, he gets some information from, and the ability to talk to people to find out where he's at?
I mean, maybe a little bit of that, and I think the other thing is, I think sometimes these guys need a trial run at, envisioning themselves as NBA players. And so, you have to, there's no doubt in my mind that Pella's an NBA level player. And I mean, I've always thought that. And, but now, they got to believe it. And I think sometimes putting your name in, lets you know that you're maybe closer than you think, for some of these guys, and maybe other guys, it makes them think that, realize they're not as close as they think. But for Pella, I think he realizes he's closer than he thinks, and I know he's primed and ready to come back and have a great year.
Philip, I am Serbia hasn't now. Yes, they have. Have I? Okay, I didn't. Oh, Philip is stepping there, and then Krivas is U20 Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's still happening.
Yep, that's still happening.
So I mean, back in the day, players left because they were either unhappy, playing time, whatever. Nowadays, even good players are leaving. NIL is involved. What's the reason why so many are leaving? Not specific here, but just maybe your.
Well, I mean, I think I think what you're seeing in college basketball right now is just a real interesting window, and I think everybody's focused on the NIL and the transfer portal, but I think one of the most interesting aspects is you're in this COVID window still, where guys are getting an extra year of eligibility. So you literally are having 20% potentially more players in your pool, and so I think that just creates roster movement. And I think, some guys are getting, longer in the tooth in their careers and getting deeper. So, maybe they want to explore other opportunities, and maybe, certain schools, the NIL's situation is not great, and others it's doing better. So guys want to see kind of where they fall and what advantages they can take, what opportunities they can take advantage of, I guess. To me, that would be it. But I honestly think that there is going to be a cooling down, and the waters won't be so choppy here in their near future in college basketball.
I mean, how do you want people to remember characters that working in this program?
Well, I mean, Kerr's a special guy, and I love coaching him. I mean, his spirit was contagious, and he really helped this program. He helped me really kind of help establish this program and build a great foundation. And, he was a part of, tons of wins, and he impacted numerous games. And a lot of the games, he was the deciding factor. So I have no doubt in my mind Kerr is going to be successful in basketball, whether it's at another school or, professionally. I mean, he's just a really good basketball player. So, I mean, I enjoyed coaching him, and I look forward to following, his career.
Somebody who's an expert players, a lot of them. When do you know if a guy's going to be a player that gets here right away, or it's going to take a couple of years?
Well, I mean,
like when you put in or first practice.
I mean, there's lots of probably data points you could go to, but everyone might be a little different. And I mean, I've always tried to give international guys a little bit of grace, a little bit of time to adjust. It might take a year, and let's face it, you recruit a kid internationally, you're not getting to watch them play as much. You're not getting to, probably deeper into the relationship just because of the proximity. So you don't know everything about them when you get them, and you have to kind of get them in your program and get your hands on them to figure out exactly where they're at. I mean, I think Henry's a good example of that. I mean, Henry's still incredibly talented, and he had a good off season, and I think he's primed and ready to be a significant contributor for our team. It just took him a year to get there. And, I mean, I think I was hoping, and I think Henry was probably hoping too, that it would happen a little faster, but it didn't. But that doesn't knock us off our path. I mean, you stay on your path and you're at where you're at. And so I feel like he's in a good way.
The new international players, if a fan comes to me and says, "Hey, which international player are you most excited about?"
Yeah.
I don't want you to rank your players, but is there one guy who you think that fans are going to be really excited about seeing here on that season?
All of them. You don't have to rank them, and neither do I. So, I mean, with that, that'll happen in practice. And, we're excited about all those. I think all those guys are winners. The two Lithuanian guys are really talented and have played at a high level. The Spanish kid Martinez, I mean, I think this fan base is going to love him. He's a winner. He plays with fire, and I'm sure he's going to have to get over here and figure it out a little bit. But I think it's going to be really cool in Tucson to have a native speaking Spanish player. I think that's going to, and he plays with some personality and some charisma. So I'm excited to see Conrad's relationship with Tucson grow.
You got the Kerr's personality, the way you talk about that?
I don't know. We'll find out. You know what I mean?
Has he kind of got that? Yeah.
I mean, listen, he's a winner and he plays with great spirit and energy, and Kerr's his guy and Conrad's his guy. So I don't know if there's any other similarities other than that.
You got 5 games against power conference opponents that you've scheduled. Is this the kind of scheduling you envision?
Again, you look at what opportunities become available, and there's a lot of things behind the scenes, ideas floated and things like that, and you figure out where you're at as a program, and obviously we want to be one of the best programs in the country, so we want to take some swings in the non-conference. I think it's great for our team. I think it's great for our fan base, and I can't predict. There's not like a set formula that we have for it, but I love our schedule. I think it's really going to be challenging, and there's a lot of great opportunities in it.
Can you talk about your summer trip, if you can or can't? Can you talk about the importance of having that with the guys coming in new, fresh?
Yeah, well, I've never done a foreign tour, so I'm excited for that. And as you guys know, I love to travel and see different places. And I think a lot of the details, specifics are still getting worked out. But we know we're going to be going to Israel and we're going to Abu Dhabi. And I think it's going to be. I think the competition is going to be great. I don't think you're going to see us be playing a bunch of thrown together all-star makeshift teams. I think we're going to be playing real teams and real games and real venues, and I think that's really valuable for us. I'm looking forward for one, just a life experience for our guys. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Israel, but if you haven't, you got to go. Amazing. I haven't been to Abu Dhabi. I've been to Dubai, and I've heard great things about Abu Dhabi. It's extremely unique place, and I think for our guys to go there and get that experience will be something they'll remember more than the games for the rest of their life. And I still think, college needs to be about those things. And you show guys, you show young adults what it is to travel, and maybe they get a little bug, and I think the more people travel, I think the better, more well-rounded people they become, and the more perspectives they see. And if that's something I can pass on to my players, for me, I would love to do that. So we're going to take this opportunity and hopefully have a great time.
The reason you guys never traveled
well, sometimes it's hard when you have a lot of international guys, and I don't know if you've been to Spokane, but the summers are really nice in Spokane, and the winters aren't. So you probably want to take advantage of staying close to home, when the weather's good. And here, it might not be a bad idea to bounce out of town once or twice in the summer. So just different places.
How does it come about? Apparently, Bruce Pearl maybe made a suggestion.
Yeah, well, one of the promoters reached out to me, who we deal with on some other stuff, and she, she's got a great reputation, and I was a little bit familiar because I'd heard that Auburn had done it the year before, and she pitched it to us, and I took it to the administration, and it was something we were able to work out, and I'm thankful for Dave, and Brent, and President Robbins for, making it work for the program.
Anticipating, I think some like USA basketball and some of the seniors Abu Dhabi. Is there any tie-in with that?
Yeah, I don't know all the specifics of everything, but there is going to be some tie-ins and things like that for sure.
And with the guys you've got, like you said, you've got a number of guys that are in. They're going to come back here and you're going to practice, and they're going to come back to Israel, or some of them didn't stay with it.
Well, Zoom's an amazing thing, but it hasn't worked in basketball practice yet. Yeah. So they have to come here to practice, Bruce. I hate to break it to you, and then they got to get back on that plane. So who can play on the game. I don't know. I saw that Jay Wright commercial where he's coaching on the sidelines on the device, but I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. So.
Jaden Bradley was in that rotation with him.
Yeah, no, Jaden's awesome. I mean, Jaden's a really good player, and he's a crazy, hard worker. He's a high character person. We recruited him the first time around really hard, and we're very familiar with him. And we're fortunate it worked out this time around. We're lucky to have him, and we had a great about 3 to 4 weeks with him here recently, and yeah, I'm thankful he chose Arizona, and hopefully we can help him get what he wants out of this experience.
What kind of role do you anticipate? Would he be kind of a combo guard or?
Well, to be honest with you, Bruce, we haven't really, set roles or anything like that. To be honest, we haven't had more than 5 guys really, guys that'll probably be in the rotation in the gym at one time. So, we're all going to get together and we're going to work it out. I mean, I think the exciting thing is we have a lot of good players that are great guys, and we'll kind of figure out how the pieces fit together. But I see all these guys being significant contributors, and and KJ Lewis has been great. I mean, he's I think our fan base is for whatever reason there wasn't a lot of to do about KJ, but I think there should have been, and I think when we see him play over the course of his career, we're going to realize what a talent he is.
What's Tommy Lloyd's role with the program? Is he still going to be
Yeah,
playing?
we're figuring that out right now. We're figuring out everything with Tote. I mean, obviously, we're extremely happy for Zoo, and we were all together last night. And the back half of that second round is crazy. And they should probably do a 30 for 30 or a documentary on it with as many moving parts and picks happening every 2 minutes, and agents calling players and asking them if they would. If they draft you, would you be willing to be stashed? And, then agents telling teams, don't draft him here because we think we got a 2-way there. And it's just a lot of moving parts. And so, I think, with a bit of time to go in the draft, I think Zoo, knew he had that in his back pocket, and that's what he wanted to do. And so I think that's what they pursued. Him and his agents pursued the opportunity to get a 2-way with Philly as opposed to get drafted by another team. And so I know, I mean, Zoo's awesome. He was, he was a really special moment, for him to get it. And, trust me, there was zero disappointment in the room when his name didn't get called, because obviously he knew what opportunity he had, and he was extremely grateful and extremely happy.
How do you see him translating to the next level?
Zoo, he has a knack for, getting stuff done, whether it's in the paint, the basket, transition. So I think, even, when you watched him play a little bit in those, the combine games, you could just see, you put Zoo out there with other good players. I mean, Zoo might not be the guy initiating everything or, making all the highlights or making a bunch of jump shots, but he's kind of the receiving end of a lot of those plays, and he can just catch the ball and lay it up. And there's a value in that. That's a lot harder to do than people think. And the way he runs the floor, I think he creates easy opportunities for himself and his teammates. So, I'm interested to see, but, hey, like a lot of these guys, you're there, but now the real challenge is in front of you. You got to go at that level with the best players in the world, and you got to make it happen. And I'm excited to see Zoo's journey. I mean, Zoo could have a jump in him. I mean, you put him in that environment, I think he could. There's another jump in his game, and hopefully he could access that.
He said he was a quicker Sabonis, not maybe it's all around good as Sabonis.
Yeah.
What would you see that at all?
I mean, I don't know when he said that, but
At the combine, he said,
well, here.
guys, at the
He's
combine-
Lithuanian. That checks the box, right? He's left-handed. I've coached both of them. I guess there's a couple common denominators there, but I think Zoo's his own guy, and Zoo's good enough to make it, but like any guy in that situation, the margin of error is really thin, and so hopefully he can do the work, make the progress, and find the opportunity, and everything kind of aligns, because that's what has to happen. It's really, really hard to do.
Were you guys with Cedric and Courtney as well? Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't heard about specifically what they're doing. I know they had a number of workouts for a number of teams. we're still waiting to see, you know, if they landed on a summer league roster or if they get an Exhibit 10 or something like that. But you know, I'm confident that all three of those guys will have, you know, long, successful professional basketball careers. And, you know, whatever level that ends up being remains to be seen. But you know, for me, I just look at their ability to stick and staying power. You know, whether it's, you know, high level in Europe or, you know, the Asian market's getting a lot better now, or in the NBA, you know, or even the G League. So I think all those guys have possibilities to have long careers. And you know, they were around here a lot this offseason, and we're thankful they played for our program, and they'll always be part of our family. And you know, I mean, you know, hopefully, you know, next year we'll see them around a lot. We've had Justin Kyer's been around a lot. You know, he only played here 1 year, but you know, it's a place, you know, he spends a lot of time in the offseason. So hopefully those Courtney and Cedric, you know, and Zoo do the same thing.
Break down the two Lithuanian guys a little more. It seems like it's very unique in their own way. So, and you know,
Well, yeah, Krevis, you know, Krevis is a, you know, a center. I mean, he's a big guy with a big body. He's got good hands. You know, I think he's got an ability to be a creative player. You know, with his passing and ability to read the game, and I think he's a guy that impacts the game with great hands and size. You know, yeah, I think he's got a really bright future. And Morauskas is, you know, really aggressive. You know, probably combo forward. You know, he plays facing the basket, you know, out on the perimeter, and you know, he's got good size and good strength, and he's very aggressive and he's very physical. So you know, he's kind of got a knack for scoring, and you know, and he kind of plays with that chip on his shoulder. So you know, I mean, hopefully that's enough of a separator on the two for you.
there was some time his team's club loaned him to another team so he could play in the senior league. How good is that league, and is that playing in that competition going to help him?
Yeah, I mean, playing in the competition will help him for sure. I mean, the league is very good. I mean, it's a solid European league with, you know, some really good you know, traditional powers at the top. And yeah, I mean, I just think for him to go out and, you know, get the experience of playing those games and traveling across the continent, playing against men, you know, will do nothing but help him.
What do you think you talked about before, but just in general about recruiting international guys and the benefits of that? It seems like you said, you anticipated 50-50 split about, I think, and is it maybe even more so to have that piece in this day and age where those guys are maybe?
Well, I mean, obviously, I mean, if you're comfortable recruiting over there and you kind of know the lay of the land, I mean, it gives you an opportunity to maybe look at more potential guys for your team. And, you know, and a lot of these European guys make decisions later rather than earlier. So, you know, I mean, so for me, I mean, it's a natural thing to do for me. But I can see maybe in this day and age how it could continue to be an advantage.
And there's been site, you know, in what ways do you see that? I mean, the fact that maybe they're not going to transfer every year, that kind of thing. I think that transfer deal is going to be a case by case basis. I don't know if we're going to see any trends there. Like international guys transfer more than American guys. I don't know about that, but no. I mean, I just listen. I'm comfortable coaching them. They're good players. They're great team basketball players, and you know, I think having a mix of international players and American players is it's a sweet spot to being successful, and it's something I'm definitely comfortable with. Else? What's your schedule like? If you guys go what, early in August? Maybe it's like, are you planning a few weeks of practice here? You get those 10 practices.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you know, you got a lot of time in the summer now. You know, with 8 weeks and being able to get on the court with them, you know, 4 hours a week. That time adds up, and then, you know, you're going to practice a little bit before, but by no, you know, we're not going to go into this foreign trip and try to be in perfect game shape and you know trying to be, you know, perfectly polished. You know, we're going to go over there and play a lot of guys and just get some experience and you know, we'll learn from the good and from the bad.
What kind of games are you playing there, or could you have some like friendly type of
Well, my guess would probably be 3 games.